I want to paint a vivid picture for you guys, so follow me along here for a minute. Close your eyes and let this story unfold. Imagine you go out to a club. You're looking good, you got your best cologne on, your favorite smiley face boxers on and shit. And the club has a great ratio of women to men, which is a rarity for clubs because usually clubs turn into a fucking sausage fest or sword fights, whatever the fuck. You spot a woman across the club and she has her shit all together. You talk, you mingle, but she doesn't want to drink, doesn't want to dance, just talk and decides, hey, let's go back to your place for the night. And you stupidly say, of course, why the fuck not? She's cute, she's not a butterface, but legitimately cute, nice body. She's not a man, thankfully, so you know this is an actual woman, not some crying game type shit. Anyways, you get to your place, things start moving quickly, and then you start to notice a few things. Her cute face was expertly covered in makeup. Her eyelashes, completely fake. Shit, her hair even has extensions in the motherfucker. You can see the goddamn laces in that shit. Then she starts to take off her outfit, and she's wearing some fucking Spanx to hold her shit in. Now, you realize that flat stomach isn't exactly fat. You know, she's not chubby, but she damn sure isn't as lean as that Spanx made her look. She has a push-up bra that made her A cup look like a C cup, and then all of a sudden you realize this chick doesn't look a damn thing like the fine girl you saw in the club. She dressed herself up all nice, didn't want to dance, didn't want to drink, and basically tricked you into thinking she has a shitload more appeal than she really does. Motherfucker, welcome to Assassin's Creed. Holy shit, no game in my collection has fooled more people than this game. Even the fucking YouTube auditor would have been fooled by this sumbitch, man. Holy fucking shit. Now, let me explain how Ubisoft completely fucking fooled everyone with this joint. When Assassin's Creed was initially revealed years ago in 2006, the trailer showed off a pretty cool concept. A sandbox-type game with a badass assassin in a time period that we rarely see in video games. It then cut into a scene with some current technology as part of the game. So the story seemed to involve something in the future and something in the past. It was unique, and it damn sure piqued people's interest in it at the time. It was an excellent reveal when it came out. Now, over time, like any game, more details will become available in the form of trailers, in the form of news interviews, in the form of press releases and whatnot. Little by little, they showed pieces of the game in CGI cutscenes and some small in-game sequences. Fast forward 1 year later to E3 of 2007, and for the first time, a full cut preview of in-game footage was going to be shown. Full gameplay from Assassin's Creed was finally going to be given to the public. Hype was already created for this game. Buyers were already excited about this game because it was supposed to be the spiritual successor to the Prince of Persia franchise, except it looked sharper and it was more realistic. So when the demo came around, Ubisoft showed 20 minutes of gameplay. It showed Altair riding a horse into a city, battling enemies from the top of a horse, being pulled off and having to take on 8 to 10 different enemies, disarming them, pulling off a collection of moves, and then the Parker. Oh, the Parker was beautiful, how varied Altair could move and use his environments to escape his enemies, or use the environments to actually hit his enemies. Ubisoft showed what was probably going to be a blockbuster franchise, which in all fairness, it has become the franchise that they anticipated. People were caught, hook, line, and sinker. People like me saw this footage and came away completely impressed by what this game offered and how cool that shit looked, man. It was a true next-gen game that can only be done on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. PlayStation 2 and Xbox Uno. I still don't know what to call that motherfucker. Anyway, they couldn't do this game. So if you wanted a next-gen game, this was going to be it. And then a funny thing happened. As the release date got closer and closer, many review sites noticed that at no point were they allowed to test or demo the game. Something particularly odd, especially for some of the top video game news agencies that are allowed to at least demo the game ahead of time so that they could give impressions and shit like that. How come they can't play hands-on? How come there's no demo for the media ahead of time to hype the game? Ubisoft's response was that it was being produced by multiple studios across the world, so it was hard to invite the media in for a preview. Okay, well then can you ship us a copy of the game before it actually releases? Sure, not a problem. Ubisoft then sent most media sites a copy of the game only a couple of days before the actual release of the game. Again, something very uncommon for a major title. Usually, you get the full product out to the media about a week or two before the release date, not 2 to 3 days. So when the reviewers got to the game, the results were mixed. This blockbuster game was pretty lackluster. Almost all the major reviews said the same thing. It's nothing like the demo we saw. It's repetitive, it's counterintuitive, it's basic, and it's lacking significant polish. Ultimately, the game received average reviews and scores. I remember one review in particular. The website and the guy who gave the review gave it a 7 or a 7.5. It was something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something in that range. The comments blasted this motherfucker. I mean, blasted the reviewer and saying that you are so full of shit. Meanwhile, nobody had actually played the game yet. People were telling him, you don't know what a good game is, this is supposed to be great, this is going to be the greatest invention since remote controls on TVs and shit like that. All these people who hadn't played the game thought the reviewer was full of shit and wanted to give the game a low score just to make some hype for this motherfucker. Then, they all played it. Sure enough, Assassin's Creed is the chick in the club who fooled everyone. The demo at E3 showed plenty of things that were never in the final game. You could not ride a horse into a city. You couldn't fight someone while mounted on a horse. You couldn't use your environment to help you with a fight. You couldn't control the Parker of the game, and it instantly did it for you. You couldn't control the animation of the instant death sequences because the game chose the animations Altair would use to perform those instant kills. The instant kills are cool as shit though. But you had no control over that shit. On top of that, the game was incredibly repetitive and mundane. You had to assassinate 9 targets. Aside from the one target who runs away from you, they were basically the same shit. You need to kill 3 targets in 3 different cities: Jerusalem, Damascus, and Acre. You had to do bullshit research on how to kill each one of these motherfuckers and get info in the most mundane ways possible. The research quests were all the same. Eavesdrop, follow someone, pick up whatever stupid fucking item. Once you had enough info, then the main guy allowed you to kill the target. The game was so painfully repetitive each fucking mission. On top of that, some of the design choices made this game feel woefully incomplete. You could collect flags or whatever the fuck they were scattered around the towns. Did these flags mean anything or lead to anything? Hell no. There was no incentive to actually collect them. There was no bonus for getting every single flag. Nothing. Not a single fucking iota for getting every one of those flags. You had to perform brain-fuckingly mundane missions for couriers, like beating them in a race or delivering something from them. Meanwhile, you're the greatest assassin of your generation, and part of the plot line at the beginning of the game is to strip you of all your powers and abilities and rank within the order to knock you down to the lowest level. You had to earn your stripes all over again. It's like fucking God of War again. You know the way they need to keep knocking Kratos down in parts 2 and part 3? They basically did this to you in the very first fucking game. Now, the overall plot itself is actually pretty damn good. In current years of the game, you take control of a character named Desmond, who is being held by a company called Abstergo, who is trying to access his family's memories through his DNA. It's a pretty cool concept. It's a unique concept. It's a futuristic concept. In putting Desmond in this machine, they extract his ancestral DNA from his lineage all the way back to Altair during the Third Crusade. Abstergo is looking for the pieces of Eden, and they feel that Desmond's ancestors might have that information. You can't lie. This is a fucking fantastic idea, and it sets the tone for the entire franchise. Now, at the end of this game, you essentially have 2 partial endings, which I won't spoil entirely, but I do need to discuss. You have the end of Altair's journey, in which he finds the piece of Eden that the Templars have been looking for, and the game cuts away and doesn't show you exactly what happens to it after that. So Altair's story is left off as a cliffhanger, which shows that there will be more information in another game. You also get the ending of Desmond's storyline, and part of that shows his assassin's powers begin to manifest, and he's able to see a prophecy on the wall of his room that says something will be happening in 2012. You don't know what that something will be, but you have an idea that it's not going to be something good. It shows that some shit is about to go down in a couple of years, but it leaves you off in a position that says there will be more to this game in the future. Ultimately, it's a cliffhanger for the future of the franchise, and that ending with Desmond is what I'll be focusing on in the future videos of Assassin's Creed. In this game, they don't show you much. It's just that something is going to occur down the road, and it has something to do with the apple that Altair found at the end of his adventure. The problem with the game, though, was its repetitiveness, its lack of shit to do in these gigantic cities, and the complete and utter fucking fraud of that demo showed nothing that ended up being in the game. This game had a complete lack of polish. I'm not gonna lie. Because of this game, because of that demo years ago, it's a big reason why I don't trust demos anymore at E3. Ubisoft in particular, because they put way too much pre-rendered shit into their goddamn trailers and shit like that. You know, it's like Watch Dogs. I didn't trust Watch Dogs when it released because it looked way too staged, similar to what happened with Assassin's Creed years ago. I love the look of The Division, but again, who knows how much of that shit is in the actual final game. Because of what they did with Assassin's Creed in their demo, I don't trust Ubisoft's demos. I really don't. They pre-render and pre-stage almost everything, and you have to sit there and say, how much of that shit is actually going to be in the final product. But in any event, this is the game that has made me wary of almost all the demos at E3 because it's very easy to make a demo look good, yet the final product has nothing in common with the demo. Looking at you, aliens, colonial marines. Oh man, that game had all kinds of problems, man. But anyway, as for this game, there is no question, this is the chick in the club wearing Spanx. It looked great from a distance, looked great when you couldn't get close to get a hands-on impression of the product, but by the time you unwrap this motherfucker, it was too late. You hit it because at that point, what choice do you have? Now, luckily, Assassin's Creed has some better younger sisters to look at, so tomorrow, we're going to be getting into that younger sister, Assassin's Creed 2. So tomorrow's video is going to talk about the massive improvements that this game made as part of this franchise. So as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.